Hey, fellow contractors. I hope you guys are well. You can see in the background Elon Musk's picture. For some of us, he's a guru. So this is the end of 2023. So what do you think that Elon Musk must have been thinking right now? Do you think that 2023 was a successful year for him, or it was a bad year? Similarly speaking, for some of you guys, 2023 should have been a big success. They must have been managed to double their business or hire very good resources or build very good jobs and get rewarded very good projects as well. But for some others, it could have been a dirt year, especially with looming recession. And, in most cases, when you're trying to secure finances for your business or you're hiring the right person, it's always something which could have been missing from you getting your goals. So what we usually do is every single year, when it comes to January, we sit down and we write down some goals. And we say, hey, this year I'm going to be, I lose maybe 20 pounds. Or I will have a beach party, or I will double my business, or I will do something so remarkable which I've never been able to do it in the last 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. But that doesn't happen. Why do you think that for some people it's always a proactive approach and for some other people it's always firefighting? For example, if you talk about me, I own Bidding Enterprise. Bidding Enterprise, we are a specialized construction estimating company and we help contractors win more bids and get more jobs. But 2023 wasn't an easy year for us. We faced some problems which we thought a normal businessman should never face. So for example, we lost a good chunk of people. No, I'm not talking about customers, I'm talking about our actual employees. And when we lost some employees, it was early in Q1, all of a sudden we didn't really have a backup plan. So we thought, hey, now our business is crumbling because one pillar of the whole company started to crumble down. And we actually had to scale back. So what it did for us, we had to go back in the mid of the year on a drawing board and trying to figure out, hey, what could have been done differently, which could have saved us from, losing a good chunk of people, right? So we thought about our culture, we thought about our, employee retention, the benefits we pay out, etc., etc. And then we came up with a plan. So our approach was not a proactive approach. Our approach, as I said earlier, was a firefighting approach, right? We had a problem and we had absolutely no clue. And I'm not ashamed to say that because, it was kind of failure for us, but it was at the same time a learning curve for us too. So we had to fight to get out of the situation. But what it did for us, we had a plan in place right from the beginning of 2023 that, hey, this is the trajectory of our business for the last 5 years. So this is where we're going to be in 2023. That didn't happen, right? So we had to split the year into 4 different quarters, right? So we thought, hey, rather than doing a yearly planning, we shall do a quarterly planning. And then at the same time, we thought that, hey, one thing that we don't do is risk assessment, right? We never thought that things could go bad. We thought that things should always go right? But it never happens. So I have something for you. This is what we did, and I want you guys to do as well. Since all of us are in construction industry, so more or less the process remains the same. So I want you to take a pen and paper, right, and write down a list of those contractors in your domain. So for example, if you are an electrical contractor, so write down list of all those contractors who are in your area, who are twice as big as you are or more. And try to find out a contractor who's at least 10 times bigger than you are, right? And now try to figure out why that particular company or that particular person has managed to grow that big, whereas you, as a contractor who is possibly more skilled, when it comes to, electrical scope, then that company, but you're not able to find bigger customers. You're not able to land bigger jobs. You're not able to find good superintendents or good electricians, So you have to sit down and then you try to walk his steps, the contractor who has already achieved the next, right? And so what you need to do is, okay, for example, first thing is resources. Without people, no company can exist, right? So you have to figure out the people part, right? Then you have to figure out the bidding part, like how do you secure work, right? And then you have to figure out the execution part, like how do you actually execute work? Because in some cases, people focus on one thing and ignore the rest of the stuff completely. So for example, most people, most contractors or most companies I know, they always talk about, hey, how do I find the next project? How do I make sure that my sales pipeline is on this full? But they never talk about executing the job. So for example, if you work with a GC and you do a marvelous, absolutely incredible job, then you don't really need to look for another project. That GC shall give you his next project, right? So it's word of mouth as well. So you have to make sure that it's not just one part of your business that you're focusing on. You have to focus on the entire thing. And for that matter, your template is not your own company. Your template is the company that has already achieved those milestones. That is already big enough for you to look forward to and say, hey, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to be, maybe 2024, maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, whatever your timeline might be. Right, but you have to somehow sit down and figure out how they did it. And believe me, you won't be able to, figure out everything because you don't know. They say that devil lies in details. And details is something that only that person who built that company knows. So the second thing you need to do is start talking to people who are successful in your domain. Right, who have already done 2x, 4x, 5x than what your company has done. So they know the recipe. You don't know it. But when you sit down and you start jolting it down and now you start talking to somebody who's already done it, you will have a very clear picture of where you want to be. So without getting into what should be your goal for 2024, because all of us do that every single year sit down for last 38, 39 years, maybe not 38 years, for last, let's say 25 years, I always wanted to have six packs. It never happened, right? Okay. But there are few things that even if you don't achieve, and if you're having a healthy lifestyle, you can always say, right, having six packs is not a must-have, it's a nice-to-have. But in business, most things are must-have. So for example, if you are in your comfort zone and you're doing $1 million a year and you say, hey, I'm leading an okay life, right? For you have 24 hours in a day. For another person, for example, this guy, Elon Musk, right? He's probably making more money every hour than we are making in a year, right? So that person has 24 hours in a day as well. So the way he is making use of that time, that's what we need to learn, right? Because time will pass. 24 hours is weekend. I'm shooting this video on a Sunday. So Sunday is already gone from me, right? I could have worked during this time. I could have spent quality time with my family. I could have done anything. I couldn't have done anything. I would have probably stayed in my bed all day long, right? So it's up to you and up to me and up to us to make sure that we make our lives better. The way we do so is reflect back on 2023, find out the root causes why you are not able to make it, and at the same time try to find out why somebody was able to make it in 2023. Because when I talk to contractors, they usually say, hey, the construction industry wasn't doing really well in 2023 because interest rates were going all out of the roof, and etc., and financing was becoming difficult. But you can imagine that many companies not only survived, but they thrived. But if you barely survived, it's not the economy, it's not the circumstances that are beyond your control. It's something that you as a contractor was unable to identify and fix, and if you leave that thing unidentified in 2024, 2025, 2026, right, then you will stay the same. So what I want you guys to do, and this is exactly what I'm doing as well, I'm going back in time. Rather than looking ahead in future, I'm going back in time, right? And I'm trying to figure out, hey, this is what I could have done better. This is what I could have done different, right? And that's the reason why the other company managed to achieve more. And believe me, I'm 100% sure that there's no secret to success. It's hard work, it's work smart, and set goals, etc., etc. You've all heard that thing many, many times. But it's the execution part that people don't talk about. All right, find it out, execute it, calibrate it, recalibrate it, and I'm pretty sure that's when we meet again in 2024. At the end of 2024, for most of you, this shall be a great year, and I wish you guys best of luck. Thank you very much.